no, no way. Oh, it's Sabretooth! Oh, look at these fights. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another video, and today we will be discussing my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2025. Yes, we did this last year as well. Most of the movies I put on that list I've really much enjoyed. A lot of them made it onto my top 10 2024 movies, which is out right now. And then some of them didn't. So I don't have no idea where we're going to be next year at this time when all these movies are out. But what you can do is you guys can subscribe to the channel because we just hit 500 subscribers. Yes, we hit our goal before the end of the year. I'm so glad for all your support. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you do that. And join us on our road to 1,000 subscribers. And before that out of the way, let's get into my list right here. And we're going to start off with my 10th most anticipated movie for next year. And that movie is Michael. Yes, the Michael Jackson biopic film. I am very, very excited for this movie. I am a big fan of biopic movies. You know, if it comes to Elvis, Bohemian Rhapsody, you know, A Complete Unknown, which I still have to see, but I really love the trailers for that film. Even the Elton John, Taron Egerton, you know, Rocket Man biopic movie. I love biopic movies. I love musical biopic movies, you know. And Michael Jackson, you know, we've all been thinking like, damn, this is going to be a difficult one to do. You know, because Michael Jackson, sure, he's one of the greatest singers, artists, you know, of all time, but he also has complicated histories. But I don't think that's really going to make the movie bad. I don't think it's really going to impact the movie because I think a lot of people are going to go into this as Michael Jackson fans. And you have also newcomer on the scene, Jafar Jackson, coming in for his first ever role. And the reason he's playing Michael Jackson is because he is, I believe, Michael Jackson's nephew. So it's cool. And I've heard from footage people have already seen of this movie that they showed at CinemaCon that this guy is going to be great. Like, I'm hearing, like, I think end of this year, next year, we could see Jafar Jackson being nominated for an Oscar. I'm going to say that right now. I haven't seen the movie, I haven't seen any trailers, but I have a feeling this movie is going to be on the level of Elvis and Bohemian Rhapsody. That's what I'm feeling. But what you also have, which kind of makes me a bit worried, is you have an interesting director in here. Yes, you have a hit-and-miss director in Antoine Fuqua. Now, I'm a big fan of Antoine Fuqua. You know, he did the Equalizer films. I think the most well-known movie we can remember he's done is Training Day. Yes, iconic. So he very much is someone who works with Denzel, but he's also had, you know, there's been some misses. You know, one of his misses I think of is Infinite, you know, that Mark Wahlberg, you know, where it's about reincarnation. You know, I think like that could be like kind of hurt, you know, me trusting in his direction of the film. Also, The Magnificent Seven, which, you know, I thought that movie was okay. So he does have some hit and misses, but I always feel like Antoine Fuqua is like kind of in the okay section in his movies. But the cast, it does have a really, really interesting cast in here. It actually, in my opinion, this movie has a lot of unknown actors in it. Yes. You got also Kate Graham in here from Vampire Diaries. You have also Oscar-nominated actor Coleman Domingo and also Miles Teller. So you got some talent there, but you also got some people, you know, that we probably haven't had a chance to see, you know, who haven't had their moment in the spotlight, which is going to be interesting to see. But that's why I got Michael on number 10 for my list. I think this movie is going to surprise people, and I honestly think this could be close to $1 billion film next year because it is Michael Jackson. Now, let's move on to number 9 now, which I have Mortal Kombat 2. Yes. Now, if you're thinking this is a list of what I think the best movies are, it's not. This is just the ones I am most excited for. And Mortal Kombat 2 does make that list. For Mortal Kombat 2, I am very, very excited for it because, first off, I thought the first Mortal Kombat movie was not the best movie of all time. But for a video game adaptation, I think they did a really great job. And of course, they tease at the end of that film Johnny Cage. And playing Johnny Cage in this film is Carl freaking Urban. Butcher himself. And I'm like, that is like really perfect casting in my opinion. And we also had other characters showing up. You know, we also got Katana showing up, which is going to be very, very cool to have in here. And because, like, if you think of Mortal Kombat characters, you think, of course, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, and then Katana. Those are, and maybe Johnny Cage in there as well, but those are the main people you think of when you think of Mortal Kombat. And I just love that we're finally getting some more of those guys in this movie, because I thought the first one was good. I thought it was good for what it was, and I'm glad we're doing a second one. But what I'm hoping for the second one is that we focus less on Cole Young. I want us to focus on, you know, Liu Kang, Katana. I want us to focus on Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade. You know, I think Cole Young's a cool character. You know, I think he's very, very cool. But I don't want, like, the main character in the movie to be like this new character you created from a franchise that has a long list of characters that you can choose from. You don't really need a reason to include a brand new character. That was my main problem with Mortal Kombat, where I didn't really care about Cole Young. I kind of just cared about all the other characters in the movie. But Mortal Kombat 2 is coming 2025. Unless it's delayed, you know, it's still going to be on my list for my number 9 spot for most anticipated movies. Alright, let's move on to my 8th most anticipated movie, and that is Sinners. Yes, Sinners. I am very excited for Sinners, guys. Like, first off, this movie was not even in my hemisphere, like, until, like, maybe midway through this year. And that's usually how movies are. This is the new Ryan Coogler vampire film. Yes. And I love now that we're in a time back in Hollywood where we're not doing sexy vampire films. We're doing straight up horror vampire movies. And, of course, this is going to be a new genre for Ryan Coogler because, of course, Ryan Coogler has not dived into this type of genre before. You know, his genre, you know, really includes, you know, I think of Creed and Black Panther, you know, which are all excellent films. Excellent, excellent films. But I'm excited to see him do like this vampire / gothic vampire story, you know, with also having Michael B. Jordan in there and Haley Steinfeld. Two of, I think, the hottest names in Hollywood right now. You know, with Haley Steinfeld, like, coming off, like, Arcane, Spider-Verse. I think, you know, I really want to see her, you know, kind of take that next step. You know, I feel like she's really big in the animation sphere, but getting the second lead role in here in this vampire gothic film, I think is really cool. And of course, you can't go wrong with Michael B. Jordan. You know, I've loved this guy ever since I watched Friday Night Lights. That's how long I've been watching Michael B. Jordan for. I'm excited to see him. Like, he's doing kind of, you know, really interesting. He's playing two characters, but it's the same actor, you know. He's kind of doing, I don't want to compare it to Sonic 3 with Robotnik and, like, Jim Carrey, but, like, it's a bit similar, but this is going to be cool for him, because I think, you know, for an actor, I think actors always want to try something different, like, go outside the comfort zone, you know. We know him as Adonis Creed. We know him as Eric Killmonger, you know. I wonder what type of different characters this is. When I watched that teaser, though, I really felt that, you know, Michael B. Jordan's character is going to be like this PTSD-driven-ass character who's like going to be ordering everyone, we got to kill these vampires, we got to kill them. And everyone's like, dude, you're just overreacting, man. You know, it's fine, it's just how things are around here. But I think that's going to be like really interesting to see a character that, you know, we don't really see Michael B. Jordan as, but a character I think we're going to really enjoy. I think it's going to be a good movie. I'm hoping it's going to be a good movie, and that's why I have it number 8 on my list this next year. Alright, now we're going to move on to number 7, which is Mickey 17. Yes, this movie is another movie I was excited for, but didn't really have on my most anticipated list, just because, you know, I'm like, okay, it's cool, you know, you got an Academy Award winning director in Bong Joon-ho, who, you know, directed Parasite, but I mainly remember his movie when he did Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer, I think, is very underrated. You know, that stars Chris Evans. You know, that movie, oh, that's a great. I'm not such a big fan of the TV show, but Snowpiercer is great. But we got Mickey 17 coming. Yes, and it's got a stellar cast. You know, it's got Robert Pattinson, Stephen Yeun, Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette. You know, you got Oscar-winning nominated actors in here. And of course, it comes from an Oscar-nominated director. I'm excited for it. You know, very much excited. I love the idea for the movie is like this guy who's like just cloned day by day because he has to go do the most dangerous job. So they just clone him. He dies, they clone him, and I think it'd be really, really interesting. The one thing I'm sensing, I'm a bit worried about the film, is its budget. This movie is a $150 million budget. The question is, can this movie like be big enough for them to like kind of make money back on the film? Because when I watch that movie, I'm like, this kind of feels like a little bit on the indie side, but I definitely see the budget there. I'm just wondering, you know, I don't see this movie being like I don't see this movie being like a $300 to $400 million film. I see it in the $100 to $200 million club. You know, I think that's a one thing to worry about the movie, but that's more like a statistical side I'm worried about. But I do think this movie does look really cool. Especially, I actually do like the accent Robert Pattinson has in it. It's very different, but I think it works for like the character he's playing. And, you know, that's why at number 7, I got Mickey 17. All right, number six. This is a big one. This is a big one right here. Fantastic Four. Now, I know a lot of people have Fantastic Four on their list as like their most anticipated movie of the year. And you're probably wondering, well, why is your Fantastic Four ranking, you know, why is it at number 6? Let me tell you why it's at number 6. I have lived through 3 Fantastic Four movies. And I have been like, okay, that's cool. I think Fantastic Four is going to be cool. I think they got a really cool, interesting cast. You know, you got Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Pedro Pascal, and Eban Bachrick as your main characters. You also got one of my favorite actors, Ralph Ineson, who was just in Nosferatu. He's playing Galactus, which that's very exciting to see. And you got, I think, the perfect director, honestly, for the movie, in Matt Shakman, who, of course, is coming off, you know, WandaVision, which very much, you know, is related, like, to the aesthetic of Fantastic Four. But I've seen 3 Fantastic Four movies in my life. And like I said, I've been unimpressed by every single one of them. Don't get me wrong. I think this movie has a terrific cast. I think it's got, you know, a very talented director. It's just, I'm not super jazzed still to see this movie. I think I will have to see a teaser or just a trailer or something for this movie because we actually haven't got any, like, really real promotion for it. Like, you know, you have the leaked Comic-Con footage, but the only thing we've gotten so far for the film are these concept images. Sure, we have behind the scenes, but I'm like, what does the cinematography look like? What does the camera work? You know, what is this? How does this world feel like a 1960s, you know, America? Like the time of the space race, you know, time of technological innovation. You know, if it's really taking that as its, like, you know, aesthetic for the film, you know, what does that feel like? Because, like, I can look at a poster, and that doesn't tell me. That gives me an idea, like, oh, they're going for this, but I don't feel it, if you guys know what that means. Like, I don't feel it. So that's why number 6. That doesn't mean I'm not excited for it. It's a Marvel movie. Marvel, I love Marvel. I have another Marvel movie on here that I'm even more excited for than this movie, and I'm going to tell you the reason why for that, you know, later, but, you know, I think Fantastic Four, I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be big. You got one of the biggest stars, Pedro Pascal, in this movie. People have been wanting an MCU Fantastic Four movies ever since they bought 20th Century Fox. But at the same time, a lot of us, we've seen free Fantastic Four movies, 3 of them. And a lot of people are like, this movie's going to make $1 billion. It's not. Unless this movie is really, really good. If this can get people excited about the Fantastic Four in the MCU, because, you know, I think one of the main draws also is going to possibly to see Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom in this movie. I honestly do think Victor Von Doom is going to be from this universe. I think this is the universe he's going to be from, because that just makes the most sense. Like, why do a Fantastic Four movie and have a Doctor Doom from another universe in Avengers, but not from this Fantastic Four universe. I think it's going to be from this universe. But overall, I haven't seen any, like, real-life images from the movie. I haven't seen any, like, first-look pictures in Entertainment Weekly. All we've got are those concept posters. So I don't have a general idea, like, how I really feel about the films. We haven't really seen the costumes. We haven't really seen, how the movie feels. We know by the posters what it feels like. We can see like what they're trying to do, but when you watch a teaser, when you watch that trailer, and when you're stepping into the movie for this first time, are you going to feel like this is not taking place on Earth, but like a 1960s futuristic America, I think it's interesting. I think it'd be very, very one of the more interesting Marvel movies. If it works, it does well. If it doesn't, we got another sloppy Fantastic Four movie. But guys, that's why I got number 6 on my list as Fantastic Four. At number 5, I think while you might not be happy about this, I have How to Train Your Dragon. I love those animated How to Train Your Dragon movies. Not just because I love Jay Baruchel as Hiccup, like what I imagine Hiccup, that's the voice I imagine, but the music. I think it's some of the most iconic, music for in animated film history, da 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 da. Like that just sends chills down your spine. You're just like, oh, I love this world. And they're doing the live action. Now I know there's been some controversy about some of the castings, but I honestly really love this cast. I love that they went and got Gerard Butler to play Stoic. I don't think any other person can play Stoic. I can't imagine anyone else playing Stoic. Hiccup's father. I think there's no one else who can play that role. And I think they also getting Mason Thames, who starred in The Black Phone. I think he was also in that new movie with Mel Gibson. It was called Cruel Summer or something. I think it's cool. I think it was a really good choice. I love that they have a lot of actors we haven't seen before. Of course, you also got Nick Frost in there, as I think it's, oh my gosh, I can't remember the kid's name, but I know he's like the one who trains them in the pit, and he was one of the funniest characters of the movie. Of course, in the original movie, he was voiced by Craig Anderson, which, that movie was really, really hilarious. And also, you have the original director of those animated films doing this, so that you have someone who cares about this material. And I think, the one thing I'm worried about is that it might just be a direct-to-screen remake of the animation film. Because you do have the same director. He's going to do some of the same things he did in that original movie. But I think if it's just a copy-to-paste film, I think it could fail. I think it could fail if it's copy-to-paste. But if there are some new things in there that he has, some new things, I think this movie could have a lot of success. I think could also open the door for DreamWorks doing other live-action projects under their banner. You could start doing live-action projects maybe of Shrek, Puss in Boots, There's so many other DreamWorks movies that they could put into live action. This, what I kind of feel like is their first one. Even Kung Fu Panda. You can do a Kung Fu Panda live action, especially with the technology available today. I think this is the first time we're actually seeing a DreamWorks movie on an animated property go into live action. So it's very, very interesting. And of course, the design of Toothless and the dragons look like it's very much similar to the animated film, which is we don't need to do anything different. Let's just keep the same design, because we just gotta make it work in live action. And I think through that first teaser, they did. So that's why How to Train Your Dragon is number 5 on my list. Now, let's move on to our number 4 spot, which is Avatar Fire and Ash, aka Avatar 3. I love the Avatar films. I actually think the second film is significantly better than the first one. The first one, I remember when that came out, I didn't realize at the time how special that movie was, with the CG, with the super realistic, CGI, and of course James Cameron. James Cameron, one of the best, living directors that we have now in Hollywood, who's actually probably the richest director according to the box office. But I loved Avatar 2. He upped the ante that he for the first one, which I didn't think you could make a better movie than Avatar 1. You did in Avatar 2, and I love the family dynamic, how they gained James Sully and Zoe Saldana's character, this family. And I was like, can you get me attached to the family? That's what I loved. And the death of their son was so like, oh my gosh, no. Like, they killed his eldest son, which was like, I really liked the eldest son, I really loved his role in that movie. And they left it off definitely for a sequel. And of course, this movie is diving into what it seems a Fire Nation, yes. And this could be the first time where Jake Sully and his family are meeting a tribe out there that is not good, that are evil, who like maybe have more like evil intentions. Because like the images I saw of the Avatar like concept art kind of remind me of like cannibalistic tribes a bit, tribes that like feed on fear instead of helping each other. Maybe that's why like they're like, we do not talk to the Fire Tribe because they are not like us. They do not believe in the ways. They don't believe in the spirits. That could be a reason why. And then maybe what is the reason why they have to go here? And of course, you also have James Cameron, also putting in new CGI creatures, Kim giving like his like message about, destruction of our environment, the bleaching of the coral reefs, which I'm very much a perfect person who talks about that. I've talked about, that, in other parts of my life, about the bleaching of the coral reefs. And I loved like the whole like water, the way of water, how this tribe was connected to the water in the second movie. So I love that. But I do think the way of water was a pretty weak title. Fire and Ash sounds great. I don't know how many movies left James Cameron's going to make for this franchise. I hope he keeps making them. But I will go watch any James Cameron movie, and this is no exception to it. Avatar 4, I'm very excited. We don't quite know what the story is for the film yet. We kind of got some ideas from Zoe Saldana that, they're going to be dealing with loss. It's going to be a movie about loss, about finding yourself after losing a family member and someone you love, which I think is going to be really powerful. I think it's going to be very sad. A lot of tears. And also, she said, this is going to be a movie that's really going to test the relationship between Jake and Neytiri. We've seen them, fall in love. We've seen them, try to struggle through building this family. Now we're going to see them struggle with loss. How is that going to affect them and their decisions? And of course, you also got Stephen Lang's character out there as well with, I believe Spider's also out there as well. And how is Spider going to roll into the story? Is he going to start going down the dark path like his father? Because I do feel like Neytiri is going to blame him. We already kind of saw that in Avatar 2. So I think it's possible that there's going to be a blame game going on in this, as well as I think Jake and even Neytiri are going to blame Spider for the death of their son. I think it's very, very possible that happens. And that's why Avatar is at number 4. Can't wait for that to come out. Probably another $2 billion win for James Cameron. And at number 3 on my list, Wicked Part 2. Yes, I'm excited for Wicked Part 2. I know there's another name out there right now for Wicked Part 2. I just can't quite remember it right now. It's called Wicked for Good. Yes, the sequel is not called Part 2 anymore. It's called Wicked for Good. Now, I loved Wicked Part 1. I like it. If you guys have already watched my other video, you already watched my top 10 movies of 2024. Wicked made my number 3 spot on my list as my favorite movie of that year, that was very hard to choose between that and some other ones. So like that was hard. I love the music, and I know a lot of people, really love Act 2 as well, especially because a lot of things happen. I know some things happen now. I kind of went out to a deep dive of Wicked after the movie, and I know but the things that happen. This is also going to get us that Dorothy footage we saw. Now, I also believe Wicked Part 2 will be a $1 billion film. The first one already has all the hype, The first one is already at least above $600 million right now. And people love Wicked. And when that movie ended, people were like, where's the next one? Where's the next one? And the next one is coming. It's coming, and I think it's going to be a $1 billion film. I think it's just a given, I think, this is going to be really cool to see because, there's stuff in here. I'm not going to spoil everything, but there's going to be stuff in here that's going to kind of change the way I think also people feel about the Wizard of Oz movie. I think that's also what the Wicked play did as well. And of course, you also have some songs in there that people cannot wait for. I don't know the names of the song because right now I'm like, I don't want to know anything about the film. I just want to go in kind of blind. I already know some stuff, but if I can just go in blind and witness the movie blind and have how I felt in the first one be this, I'm in. And John M. Chu, is it possible this could be John M. Chu's Dune 2 like Denis Villeneuve did? You know, like, it's like, how could he make a better movie? It's possible John M. Chu probably could make a better movie here. That's why I got number 3, and that's why I also think this movie's going to be $1 billion. And of course, Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, and of course, you know, we're going to find out who's playing Dorothy in that film as well. And with all that out of the way, let's move on to our second most anticipated movie this year. And that movie is Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts originally was my number 1 most anticipated movie. And you're like, Thunderbolts? Of all the movies you've seen, why Thunderbolts? Thunderbolts is reminding me of Guardians of the Galaxy. Not because it's this team, well, it is this team of underdogs, but just for what the movie was. What the movie is, you know, it's these group of people who are coming together, you know, to kind of stop this, like, conspiracy. They don't want to come together, but they have to. And of course, another reason why is I love this cast. Especially Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. After the Black Widow movie, which I still contest is not as bad as everyone thinks. I think that's a solid movie. Because I still went to go see that movie like twice in theaters. When it was coming out in 2020. I think like she is like one of the best characters they have in the MCU right now for Yelena. Along with Red Guardian, who, if you've not seen my reaction to What If, you will see how like I kind of feel about the Red Guardian character now. Because I feel like him even more. And of course, you got Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan in there. You also have John Walker, which Wyatt Russell has been getting on my radar more and more for like his performances in the Godzilla show. He was absolutely great in that with his dad. And I actually really liked the character in Falcon Winter Soldier because the type of character he played, you know, I think, you know, was going to translate into this movie where you have a war-torn, you know, U.S. agent who's lost everything, you know, who was at the height of his fame and then did something and went down. Kind of like what happens to maybe like actors and other people who have who have one bad day and everything goes downhill for them, you know. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see characters like Taskmaster and Ghost return to the big screen. I think it's going to be really cool, you know, for them to play like kind of more serious versions of themselves. I do think Taskmaster is going to die very quickly in the film because we've barely seen her in trailers, you know, and that character is very, very, like, you know, mixed on a lot of people of how it was represented. And I think it's very possible that Sentry, like, literally tears, like, her apart. Another thing, Sentry in this movie. We're getting our first taste of Superman in the MCU, basically, with the Sentry, you know. This being who has, like, the strength of 1,000 suns, you know, who, I have no idea how this team's going to beat it. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to get in giant mechs, like in What If, and beat the crap out of Sentry? You know, I think also it could be where they, like, kind of just talk Sentry down. But I can't wait to see what that Sentry costume looks like. You got Bill Pullman in there, you know. I love how, like, they're not revealing who Bob is in the trailer. When all of us as deep cut Marvel fans know, we know who Bob is. He is the mother freaking Sentry. And, of course, you know, you got a great cast. You got a great cast of characters. And also, Jake Schreier, I believe he just did that recent episode of Skeleton Crew, which I was like, okay, that episode's going to kind of be my intro to Jake Schreier because I haven't really seen anything he's done. I'm like, if he can do a solid episode of Skeleton Crew, I think I can believe in him a little more. That was one of my favorite episodes of the series. It was very Goonies. It was very, you know, adventurous. You know, maybe that's not the same tone as Thunderbolts, but I think, you know, Thunderbolts is going to surprise a lot of people. I think it's going to make more money than people think. I believe Thunderbolts is going to be a $600 to $700 million movie. I love this cast of characters, and I love, you know, the type of setting it's chosen for this film. And that's why Thunderbolts is at number 2. Now, after what happened a couple days ago, there was only one choice to put in my number 1 spot. And that is Superman. Yes, Superman. Superman originally on my list before that teaser was in my 4 to 5 spot. After the teaser, it made my number 1 spot. I have watched that teaser about probably 1 billion to 1,000 times already. I love it. I love the essence it's captured. It reminds me, you know, of, the Christopher Reeve Superman. And of course, I'm someone who has not seen the Christopher Reeve Superman. I've not seen any of those movies. But I know the aesthetic of those movies. I know what those movies were about. It was about hope. That literally the first Christopher Reeve movie was about believing a man could fly. This is taking me back to that point because I feel like right now, in like this Superman genre, we get a lot of evil Supermans. Homelander, Sentry even. You also have Omni-Man. And even a little bit of Henry Cavill Superman was kind of on that evil Superman side. Superman, when I was just reading him in the comics, he was about hope. He was about inspiring people, believing like Christopher Reeve did, believing a man could fly. It's about believing in something greater than yourself. That's always what I thought Superman was. And the teaser where you hear the kid saying, Superman, chills, because that is what Superman is. He is hope. He gives people hope that even in the worst of times, you will have someone to save you, someone who is there to protect you. And I think also it's going to be a really also a good commentary on where the world is today. Like we've known from a lot of the leaks, Superman is really contemplating, should he get involved in these world problems, going into countries. It's who is he a hero of? Is he the hero of Earth? Or is he the hero of the country he lives in, America? Also one thing this movie has to do, because a lot of that also reminds me of the Brandon Routh Superman. What I would say about that Superman Returns, it is a great Superman movie. It captures the essence of Clark Kent. It captures the essence of what Superman should be. But it's a fucking terrible comic book movie. James Gunn has to make a really good Superman movie, but also make a good comic book movie. And a lot of people I don't trust in James Gunn. Creature Commandos is mid. Oh, he's only good with doing underdog characters. He only knows comedy. For those people who say that, take a look at episode 4 of Creature Commandos. Take a look at the story of Peacemaker. Take a look at the third act of Suicide Squad. He knows how to get us attached to characters. You look at characters like Ratcatcher 2, Rocket Raccoon, even, G.I. Robot, even Peacemaker himself, a character no one gave two farts about, and now he's a mainstay in Suicide Squad comics and games and TV shows. James Gunn knows how not only to write great comic book stuff, but knows how to write characters, how to get people involved in characters. Listen, when he said he's going to put Krypto the super freaking dog in this movie, I was like, why the hell is Krypto in this movie? You watch that teaser trailer now, everyone's like, I'm seeing this movie for one reason. That little cute little puppy dog pulling that man's cape. People talk about Krypto, and I'm like, makes sense. James Gunn, he knows how to make furry creatures be very, very much loved in his movies. That's why I'm excited. Because he's making me think about the movie differently. He's making me think, this is a Superman we have not gotten in a long time. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's great as Clark Kent. But the Superman in there was dark. The Superman in there didn't inspire hope in me. It wasn't a hopeful Superman because he wasn't living in a hopeful world in that universe. I think that's also why the movie failed a bit, because, we always get doom and gloom in our lives, and we sometimes go to movies to escape. I think Superman is one of the best escape films out there during the summer, because, first off, you're going to look at a man who thinks humanity is good, and he's going to also look at humanity as humanity is also bad, but how does he deal with that as a reporter, as a superhero, and this godlike figure in the eyes of these people who are normal? And of course, you also got other characters in there. We're finally getting a Green Lantern on the big screen in a while. Thank you, James Gunn. Thank you. We're getting Hawkgirl. We're getting Metamorpho. We're also setting up this universe where we can just dive into at any point. Like I said with Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos might not be the best show on right now. It's good, but not the best. But James Gunn didn't have to be like, oh, there's this, there's metahumans, there's this. No, you could just dive into the world. It's they're superheroes. That's all you need to know. Enjoy the story. Audiences are a lot smarter than you might think they are. I think James Gunn's also probably with this universe has created a point where every fan can enter in each project. Like, you don't need to watch Creature Commandos to understand Superman. And you don't need to watch probably Superman to understand Creature Commandos. It probably helps to watch those, but you don't have to. And I just love, David Cornsweet. David Cornsweet is a nerd. He's a nerd. He's a Star Wars nerd. And, I've listened to, like, all the interviews, all the things he said, how he wants the Trunks because he wants people not to be afraid of Superman, which makes sense. And I've also heard a lot of people like, oh, Superman's going to be bad because it's too colorful. We need something colorful nowadays. With how dark our world is today, I think we need a film like this. A film that, like, we sit down, escape, and we're like, I'm having a great time. I'm happy. Not a film that makes me be like, damn, the world really sucks. I think that's what film does. So that's why Superman is my number one most anticipated movie this year. But what did you guys think? This is my list for my most anticipated movies in 2025. Leave comments down below, like, comment, subscribe. Go check out all our other content on our channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.